Hi folks, Jesse Ivy back here again, and today we're going to be talking with you about my big mistake. It's really a big real estate mistake that I made in Oregon. So if you want to find out, if you're interested in land investing, you want to find out the big mistake that I made that maybe you won't make, stick around, we're coming right back at you. Hi folks, and welcome back to my big real estate mistake in Oregon. So let's just start at the beginning. Okay, so I found this piece of land in eastern Oregon, and I decided to purchase it. Okay, so what I did was I made an offer to the seller took it, and we went through the title company, we did everything the right way. And I ended up with a 10-acre parcel out in this eastern Oregon county, and actually it was a very nice parcel. It had power on the road, it had multiple access roads to the property. I knew when I bought it that we were going to sell it. I knew that we would have no problem selling it because it had a lot of good amenities on it. Another thing it had was a great mountain view. So what happened then is we proceeded to buy this property, and then I proceeded after that to begin to market it. So I knew that we could get a good price on it, and I would offer owner financing on the property so that we would be able to sell it at a very good price and a very good profit. It would, basically the owner financing, somebody would be looking for that, and they would end up buying this nice 10-acre lot. And so that's basically what happened. We started marketing it. We put it on our website, put it on Lands of America, Land Watch, the whole bit. And then we just kind of waited, started sharing it on Facebook, and before long, it didn't take very long, before long some guy out of Seattle decided that he liked this parcel. And so, I was really excited because it honestly didn't take that long to sell it. But this guy was interested. He had some credit issues, some business issues, credit issues. So he was interested in purchasing the land. He wanted to eventually make a home out there and that type of thing. And that's what he said. He had been through some financial problems, and we don't offer, with our company and a lot of other companies, we don't offer credit checks or anything like that, so you don't have to go through that process. So anyway, to make a long story short, he ended up purchasing this property. He put a sizable down payment on this property as well. I have to say that for him. So, and then he had told me that eventually he would want to build on it or do something on it. So really, after that, he put his money down. We drew up a contract. He signed it, everything, returned it to us, and he began to make his payments. So over a course of time, in this business, you have people that you like dealing with, and then people that you perhaps don't like dealing with. He was okay, I would have to say. He at times was a little. He just acted very preoccupied a lot of the time, but for a good portion, a couple of years, he made his payments pretty steady. And but what ended up happening with this property was, he continued to make his payments. A few years go by, and then before long, I started noticing he was late with a few payments. So we had to send him out a late letter, and then it kind of started getting more regular that way. And he said he was having some financial issues, but he thought he could handle it and the whole bit and that type of thing. So I didn't hear after that. He kind of started making his payments again. Didn't hear from him from a good long time. So I'm sitting there and I'm going, wow, he's late again, and this time he's never really been this late before. So we send him out letters, we're warning him, we're telling him all this stuff. No response at all. So I start thinking, well, what's going on here? Because he's never been this late before, and I'm not hearing anything from him. And so more time went by. I think we went into winter, so it got a little too snowy to go out there, look at the land or anything. So before long, he had passed his grace period, basically. And so we ended up taking the property back. Okay, so then some time goes by, and you know how it is, you get busy with other properties and things going on. So we kind of forgot about this property for a little while. And so I ended up telling my wife that, in the springtime, first time we go out there into Eastern Oregon, we'll check on this property, just drive by there and I'll take a look at it, and so that's basically where things kind of laid. And so then it got to be in the spring. And so my wife and I, we decided to go out there and check out this property. So we proceeded to go out there. And like I said before, this property was only an hour or so from my house, so it wasn't that far for me to go to. Anyway, to make a long story short, we did end up going out to the property. And so when we got to the property, we drove up, and we couldn't believe what the property looked like. So when we got there, this guy or him and some of his friends had made a gigantic mess on the property. So there was a kind of a sort of a half-built tiny house type of thing, kind of a shed-looking building, kind of a tiny house. I guess I would call it more like a tiny house that was not finished. There was trash all over the property. There were some kind of old chemicals that he was using to treat the wood on the property. There was all the shelving on the property. It was all over the place. Like I said before, there was trash. It actually had looked like, when we arrived at the property and went out there, it looked like nobody had been at the property for a couple of years, to be quite honest with you. And so, we proceeded to check things out, look around. There was rented equipment that was out there that was never returned. The guy must have rented something and he just never took it back. There was old warped wood on all over the property. There was dirt and weeds and, all over everywhere. So he had dug a road sort of into the property. He never got any permission to do this. So like in our contracts that we do, you have to ask the seller to get permission. You also have to go through the county to get permission to do anything. You would have to go through, do all the codes and everything if you're going to develop the property. And this guy just proceeded to do whatever he wanted. And so he proceeded just to, he had water tanks out there and a bunch of old tools and shelving all over the place. It was just scattered all over the place. The lot, what once had looked like a really nice lot, was now a junk pile, and it was an embarrassment. And it was a wonder that the county or somebody from the county hadn't called us, like a neighbor complained or something like that, because it was a sewer pit, man. It looked like crap. And so, I'm talking to my wife, oh great, now we got this big problem, we got to clean up this lot. It really sucks, especially when you trust somebody and you think that they're going to take care of the property, that you're financing from them, and it turns out this guy didn't. So he basically just cut and run, left this mess for us to clean up. And so here's the problem you have sometimes, that when you're in this business, you're in, investing in land business and you resell it. One of the problems you have is once in a while somebody leaves a mess on your lot, and you don't even know about it, okay? So considering I only lived an hour from the property, I probably should have drove by this property, but this guy seemed, for the most part, pretty straight up. He put a sizable down on the property. So I was like thinking, well, he's got a big stake in the game, so I probably don't have to worry about him. Well, you know what? If you're able to drive by your properties, or you have somebody that does that for you, have them always, at least once a year or twice a year, drive by these properties, make sure people aren't doing what they're, aren't doing things they're not supposed to be doing. Because that's what happened with this guy. He was sitting there building stuff, doing stuff, didn't get permission, just doing whatever the heck he wants. Okay, and so, probably if he had asked for the permission, I would have gave it to him, considering what I thought of him or whatever. But he basically was just throwing stuff up on here and doing whatever he wanted. Anyway, so to make a long story short, I ended up trying to figure out what to do with this. And like I said, if you leave a lot like this, usually the county will get involved because some neighbor will call in a complaint. Hey, there's a junk pile over here. In fact, time out here, I have another video. I don't know if you've watched it before. It's called My Big Real Estate Mistake in Arizona. You should watch that. That's a really big mess. But anyway, back to this one in Oregon. So here's what I decided to do. I could go out. I had a guy in the area that I had clean up some lots for me out there. But you know, I decided that I was going to try something new. So what I did was to, you know, maybe cut the time that it takes to clean up and maybe even some expenses. What I did is I put a price on this property. So I took pictures, I let people see what the property looked like. I ended up putting it up for sale again, advertising, you know, half done tiny house or whatever. And but with this in mind, saying that we are offering $1,000 sweat equity into this property for somebody that wants to come by, clean the property up, and then we will credit your account $1,000 if you do that. And so, you know, we put it up, you know, I think I put it up on Craigslist, LandWatch, Lands of America, whatever. And before long, this nice couple comes along and they say, hey, you know, we were looking for a 10-acre parcel out there. We would be more than happy to clean up this lot and do a good job. So, you know, so I'm like sitting there thinking, instead of paying some cleanup crew to do it, why not have somebody that's got a personal stake in the game do it? So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up having these guys clean up the lot. And this lady and her husband, they were the only two people that were doing it. So anyway, so they began to just, you know, take care of the property. They began cleaning it. She began sending me pictures and stuff like that, little videos of the property as they cleaned. And you know, it didn't take them very long at all. I think within 3 weeks or so, they had completely cleaned up the property. It looked so good. And like I said, they had a personal stake in the game, so I credited them $1,000 for cleaning up the property. And ever since then, they basically have been paying on the property because I wrote up a new contract. They ended up buying it, and like I said before, and we just knocked that off, that $1,000 off the balance that they owe on the property. And they have a personal stake in the game, and they really like that property. They cleaned it up. Their plan was to eventually move over there and you know, live on the property. And they have been awesome buyers. They have taken really good care of the property. It's nice and clean, and it looks the way I thought it would look if somebody really wanted the property and wanted to take care of it. That's just an idea. If you ever have a problem like that, you might think about you know, doing some sweat equity, offering that as a tool to somebody that maybe doesn't have a lot, you know, a large down payment or something to put on a property. It's just something you might think about doing it. It worked out wonders for me. These people are awesome buyers and have been for years now. But anyway, that's just something that happened to me. That was my big real estate mistake in Oregon. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. We'll be back again very soon with another video for you to watch. And this is Jesse signing off from the Owner Terms Land Network.